What's up, guys? It's me Boxing, and I just finished up watching Christian Hammer versus Tony Yoka, which is a 10-rounder in the heavyweight division. And this fight was Friday, November 27th, from the H Arena in Nantes France, broadcasted on ESPN Plus in the United States. And in this fight, I gotta say, many people are saying it was a very boring fight, and I gotta agree. It was one of the most boring fights of the year. Tony Yoka didn't look too great, but it is a learning experience for him, as he did take on Christian Hammer, who's known for making guys look bad, just like Luis Ortiz and many others. But Tony Yoka, if you guys didn't know, ultimately improves to 9-0, getting a unanimous decision win over Christian Hammer, pitching a shutout on all three judges' scorecards. They scored at 100 to 89 because there was a point deduction in the mid to early rounds. I believe it was because of a headbutt. Christian Hammer was sort of fighting dirty. He was headbutting Yoka, landing shots behind the head. But I gotta say, Tony Yoka overall did not impress. I know people are gonna say, "Oh, it's a learning experience. Oh, it's this, it's that." But you're supposed to, if you're coming off a dominant win like that against Johan Duhaupas, who's never been knocked out like that, I mean, you're expected to stop Christian Hammer, who's been knocked out 3 times out of 6 losses. But I don't know what it is. He didn't look that good. After a headbutt in the second round, I mean, I don't know how those French judges scored it 189. I personally scored it 97-92. Could have been even closer, because early on, Yoka looked terrible. I mean, Christian Hammer was just pressuring him, hitting him with uppercuts, hooks, all that. But those early rounds were really close, but then as the fight went on, Christian Hammer sort of got relentless, I guess you could say, just headbutting, shots behind the head. That's where the point deduction happened. And then Yoka sort of came back to his natural form with the beautiful uppercuts, hooks, 1-2s like that. And then he won every round from there on. I predicted Yoka to get a mid-round stoppage from the 5th through 8 rounds, but that did not happen, obviously. It was a very boring fight. As I said before, he improves to 9-0. Now I believe he's ranked number 12 by BoxRec, which I don't think is good at all, because who has he only beaten? Hammer and Duhaupas? But he's beaten 2 guys past his prime. So there's other guys like Rivas, Charles Martin, Robert Helenius, and Luis Ortiz that I believe he's ranked higher than. I don't think any of those guys would lose to Yoka. I think those guys would all beat Yoka. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't think Yoka is really going to beat a top 15 heavyweight unless he has to train himself and do better next time. What's next for Tony Yoka? I do think that he will take on the winner of Dubois versus Joyce. As he's mentioned this many times before, he wants to beat Hammer, beat Joyce, and then ultimately take on Derek Chisora. I don't know why he wants to take on Derek Chisora in his last fight after beating those guys, but already he's beaten Hammer. And I'm assuming, since he's saying he wants to fight Yoka that he wants to fight Joyce, because that would be an Olympic rematch. I guess I could see that fight because it'll be built up as an Olympic 2016 rematch, since Joyce, if you guys didn't know, won the silver medal that year, and Yoka won the gold. But I mean, Joyce has got to get past Dubois first. Then he got to take on Yoka. I mean, I just think Dubois is going to beat Joyce, so I don't really see a fight between Yoka and Dubois playing out. I don't see that fight happening, but for some reason I do see Joyce versus Yoka happening if Joyce beats Dubois. But if Dubois wins, I don't see a Yoka fight happening. I don't know why. I just can't see it, because it'd be, I guess you could say, too much of a risk, because I don't think Yoka would take any other fight if it's not in France. For some reason, all his fights have been in France, and they've been pretty biased on scoring, and referees especially. But, yeah, I do see him fighting another unbeaten prospect in the coming, I guess you could say, 8 months, 6 months. Definitely in 2021. But, what's next for Christian Hammer, getting his 7th defeat, losing to another top fighter? I think he should hang up the gloves or just fight a couple of guys in Germany, if not getting another opportunity like this, fighting an unbeaten guy, or just a top contender looking to stay busy. But otherwise, nothing much for him. But overall, Tony Yoka improves to 9-0. 7 wins come by way of knockout, getting the unanimous decision win over Christian Hammer. And in my opinion, he is not impressed. And yeah, that's really it. I'm going to be boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.